car preparation, car inspection. What do you need to check before going to the track? That's an easy question. First, start with all the fluids and make sure they are filled to the maximum, but be careful to not overfill them. The first fluid you need to check is the engine oil. Check the amount and put more if you need to. It's a good idea to have an extra bottle in order to fill it if needed, because when you are pushing the engine to the upper half of the RPM range, it can often cause an increase in oil consumption. A tip for when you're on the track: always warm up the oil to optimal temperature before you go out on the circuit. After you're done with your fast laps, do one slow lap to cool down the car and all the fluids in it. And another thing is to always use high-class engine oil, because it allows more abusive usage of the engine without consequences. So, maybe the most important fluid is out of your way. What do you do next? The brake fluid. Check the amount of it, and also be sure to know the date on which you last changed the fluid in order to see if it is in the recommended manufacturer specification. You need to have in mind that all fluids, including the brake one, have different performance characteristics, and you need to know the limitations of all of them in your car. The main parameter which you need to keep an eye on is the temperature zone of the brake fluid, because on the track, the braking system is under very high pressure for an extended period of time. If the operating temperature exceeds the recommended limits, it may be possible to lose the effectiveness of the brakes or even completely lose the ability to brake. Just be sure to check the brake fluid before going to the track. Even better, if you have the ability to do it, change it with a performance one that has a high boiling temperature. The next fluid we're going to look at is the coolant. Again, check the amount and be aware of what antifreeze you are using. Also, know the amount that's needed to fill it to the maximum. By using a coolant, not water, your cooling system will be able to do its job properly. Apart from everything else, it has very good lubrication functions, and its boiling temperature is a lot higher than the one of water as well. All this additionally protects the engine from damage while on the track. Next are all the oils and fluids in the transmission, the differential and the hydraulic rail. They must be checked and filled if they are not full. However, as this is something a bit more advanced to do by yourself, we recommend checking it with your dealer or service first and leaving them to do it if needed. The last fluid is, of course, the fuel. Always use the best possible fuel when you go to the track. Otherwise, the engine is not going to work at optimal mode. When you go out on the circuit, make sure you have at least 1/3 of the fuel tank filled. A lot of the time, if you're driving with low fuel level, when you go through a turn with high speed, the amount that goes to the engine isn't enough, and the car starts working inconsistently, and sometimes the engine even cuts. Situations like this can lead to engine issues. After you've finished with the fluids, it's time for the tires. Carefully check your tires and see if they have any problems. Make a balance and check the tire pressure. When you go on the track, the tires take most of the driving abuse, and this leads to fast tire wear. Taking your current tires directly on track is not a good idea, because by the end of the day, they will be completely gone. The perfect solution is to have a second set of tires that are suitable for the track, and upon arrival, to swap your road-going ones to your track set. Now, some other things while prepping your car. Try to get rid of all unnecessary clutter. By spending the extra time doing that, you will save weight and prevent accidents that may be caused by freely moving objects in the cabin. Also, be sure to clean all the glasses inside and outside in order to have perfect vision over the track. Set up your rearview mirrors. Don't forget to check the brake pads of the car as well, and if they are under 50%, you need to change them. What to do to your car. After we've covered all the standard preparation, we're now going to talk about some important things to know about your car. Firstly, while on the track, control and feedback are of utmost priority. They will aid you a ton, making sure you are composed during driving. For this purpose, there are a few things you can change. The best option would be to change your normal seat with a race bucket one and change your seatbelts with a 4-point harness. This way, you won't be fighting the car in order to stay in the seat, and you will have full control of every aspect. Not to mention that the car will feel way more direct, having no delay between throttle, steering, and brake inputs, and the feedback that you get through them. When on track, maximum tire grip is the main goal. It allows us to extract the biggest amount of speed out of every corner. For this to be done, no matter the tires you're using, the normal setup of the car is just not gonna cut it. If you have the ability to visit a service for an alignment before going to the track, make sure to do so with the right equipment so you can set maximum camber on the front and rear axles of the car. Of course, don't forget to change the setup back to normal after you come back from the track if the car is being daily driven. The last thing that is important for you to know is what are the things that will take the biggest beating and wear out the most during a track day. Actually, there are a lot of things that may wear out, so you'll need to keep an eye on everything like brake pads, discs, bushings, etc. First of all, before doing any sessions on the track, take a close look under the car and see if there are any leaks of oil or other fluids. If there are, be sure to find the source of leakage, the type of fluid, and double check if it's safe to drive. Keep an eye on the brakes and see if the discs are in good condition. With the intense braking points on the track, your brake components may wear a lot, so be careful. Due to the extensive wear, some vibrations might occur during braking. Be sure to check it and find out if it's something serious. After every track day, you must be sure to check all the things we have said so far again. Fluids, tires, etc. Basically, make a full inspection of your in-car once more, like you did before the track day, to make sure everything is fine. If any components have worn out, change them and get your car setup back to normal.